everybody relying on GNSS, and without knowing its existence.
Hello everyone, this is Lucy from Onocoy. Today I'm at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University and I'm going to meet with a professor from the Intelligent Positioning and Navigation Lab. So let's go inside. I've been here before a few years ago as an exchange student, so I know the professor from those days. But let's hear his opinions on GNSS and correction data and what the future holds for us. Okay, I'm here at the floor. Let's see if we can find him. Maybe you can briefly introduce yourself and your lab to our viewers.
Okay, so I'm LiTas. So let me introduce myself first. I'm Lita. I'm born and raised in Taiwan, and got my PhD in Taiwan as well. And during the PhD, I'm doing that in UCL, University College of London. And after that, I become a postdoc in Tokyo University, working at all this autonomous driving and robotics, intelligent transportation system with the aid of GNSS. So I'm using GNSS in these applications. And after that, I'm coming to Hong Kong, which is where we are now, in 2016. So that's 9 years ago. So that's my first faculty job. And ever since, I have been working at urban GNSS, either for IoT devices, including smartphones, smartwatches. We haven't do smart glasses, but that could be the future. And we also apply this to a lot of vehicle navigation, including autonomous driving. And we're also trying to fuse GNSS with the other sensor. GNSS, especially GNSS RTK with LiDAR, because they are both centimeter level. So we're integrating that and put it in urban Kenya. And one last one. So it's like last 2 years, I was staying at Google as a visiting research scientist in Android location teams. And we are also doing a lot of interesting stuff over there.
Yeah, so may I say that you're very experienced in the field of GNSS navigation and all these things?
You know, Asian usually humble, but in this case, I should say, yes, I think I'm qualified to do this. Yeah.
Where do you think the position of GNSS right now is in the field of navigation?
I think so. This is a huge question. So where it is right now. So I think it go into a critical point from just positioning. Now it's an infrastructure. Everybody relying on GNSS, and without knowing its existence. So it has been used in so many different fields. Like for most of people, we know using it is navigation, and we probably know using robotics, for example, the drones, the autonomous driving cars, but actually also used in timekeeping, time synchronization, for example, the power grid, and also in crypto as well. Actually, when you're doing this quantum financial trading, the timing is super important, and how to make sure everybody's time is the same in the very high resolutions. If you're going to buy those very expensive atomic clocks, gosh, it's gonna cost you a ton. So what people have been using is just using GNSS, because it's not about position, it's about timing as well. We call it PVT, positioning, velocity, and timing. So they're actually being used to synchronize a large grid, whatever system it is in the world, like power grid, financial grid. And we are in the critical point is that GNSS is being used everywhere, and everything is digital, everything is controlled. So how are we going to make sure the infrastructure services is always good, even under some threat? Threats is everywhere. Threat could be coming from cyber attack. It could be coming from the nature disaster, for example, the ionosphere's installation, all the stuff. So how are we going to protecting our positioning infrastructure? I think that's the current point, yeah.
And also corrections play a role in here, right?
Oh,
it's a part.
Very much. Yeah. So that's a different aspect I haven't talked about. So the first aspect I talk about is for infrastructure resiliency and how do we have the redundant system. But the second one is people using GNSS as human beings. So you probably believe that it's already enough. But how the robots, how the autonomous system, for example, drone, auto-driving car, how they perceive the world is not the same as human beings. So they have to be navigate in digital world. And those digital world require map. Map require a coordinate. So that's where GNSS is coming in. So you need to provide quite accurate position, much more accurate compared to your smartphone is using today. So you got to bring that to a level of like 5 centimeter, 10 centimeters, so it's like this big. So it's important and it's difficult.
Yes.
It's difficult as well. Yeah. Let's talk about like how to achieve this.
Yeah, sure.
So because you talk about you bring the word corrections, so the arrow is actually coming from. We talk about correction, you need to know where the arrow coming from. The arrow is like when we're doing positioning, you need to know where the satellite is perfectly. Our scientists around the world is doing a good job, but we still manage to do it to a few centimeters, like 20 centimeters something. But still some errors out there. The 20 centimeter in the satellite position will translate to your position also 20 centimeter. So that is one part to be correct. The second part, including your signals transporting through the atmosphere. So you have tropospheric delay, you have atmospheric delay. Those also something to be canceled. So how to do that? You need to have a reference station. So that's a network of reference station. So there are tons of different network provider for this now. Some government doing this, some private sector doing this, but we haven't have a global coverage in terms of that. And so I will say, like, if we have a global coverage of corrections, and they can really like motivate a lot of new applications going to new places, and that's really important, especially those robotics application, autonomous application. Yeah.
I have introduced the Onocoy project to you already. So, how do you see Onocoy in this?
Oh, it's very interesting.
World?
Yeah, it's very interesting because I said like the coverage is not globally, because those GNSS gig, we call it navigation gig or geodesy gig. We are living in a certain part of the world. So we hope to increase the diversity of people who are working at this, but still struggling. I mean, like, you really want to push to everywhere in the world. But how to do that? Like, to do that through an academic network is pretty slow. So we believe that the power of market. So if we can have like Onocoy, like you guys, if you can bring this GNSS receiver as a reference station to different users in the world, and they can deploy there, that means we can easily get a different correction services into different part of the world. And that means we can bring a lot of new robotics applications into different part of the world, especially those new markets.
Yes, that's exactly our aim. Currently, we are really heavy focusing on East Asia, Southeast Asia, and what do you think? How does Southeast Asia, East Asia will profit from that?
Let's talk about East Asia, because in East Asia, we talk about East North Asia because that's where I come from. I was working in Japan for a few years, so I'm more familiar with this part of the world. I would say we are facing to aging society. So robotics is definitely a role out there. So you gotta have someone to do the job that people don't want to do, especially like agriculture. So we already see America and also China doing a good job in precision agriculture. That's replacing a lot of like agriculture business. I mean, like they're upgrading the agriculture business. So I'm expecting like in Japan and Taiwan. So especially I'm coming from a fish farmer family myself. So I know like that these people, these important people, they are actually cannot find a successor to the business, because the younger generation love to work in much comfortable environment. We can all understand that. So robotics for that, I think that's a big part. If you want to have robotics to work outdoor, you need GNSS. You need GNSS centimeter level. You need correction services. So for Northeast Asia, so I would say that's a market there. Do
you have anything else that you would like to say? Or?
I like the idea of using crypto, and the value is whole based on the RTK services, because I do believe that our future require a lot of automation from robotics, and GNSS has always been a part for this autonomous system. For those who say GNSS is not that important, is because they don't require it so accurate, but somehow it is definitely there. If it is not there, it's making a lot of things much harder. So think about a world that GNSS is reliable and accurate. people are saying that we can do it without GNSS because it's hard to be accurate everywhere. But just think of the future if you can have GNSS as easy as today. Like its accuracy is not just a few 10 meters, it's not a few meters, it is a few centimeters everywhere around the world. Wow, it's a game changer. So people are saying that it's not important is because GNSS is hard in some areas. That's because the technical challenge. It's not because GNSS is not important. So those challenge of GNSS, one of the aspects is the correction coverage. So I would say like Onocoy, I mean like the whole idea is to promoting GNSS use in all the robotics in the world. So therefore I strongly support and I wish to see you guys thrive. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lita.
Thank you. You're very welcome. Yeah.